Today we're going to be checking out a Canada video about one of the former prime ministers, Jean Chrétien. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but one of the former prime ministers of Canada talking about the U.S.-Canada relations these days. It's going to be very interesting.
He has a lot to say about it, apparently, so I'm curious to see, because if he's one of the former prime ministers, obviously the relations were a lot better, I'm assuming, while he was prime minister, so I'm sure while he watches this unfold, he's got a lot to say.
Let's check it out. Here we go.
But it's not a simple situation. You have to read the history of all of that that I've done.
In his 91 years, Jean Chrétien hasn't just read history, he's
91,
lived it,
wow.
helped shape it.
We can develop a fantastic society for every Canadian.
I will try to bring us together by appealing not to what divides us, but what unites us. But if it must come to war, I argue that the world should respond through the United Nations.
Some of
war.
that history on display at the Jean Chrétien Museum in his hometown of Shawinigan, Quebec.
But it's a gift that George W. gave to me.
Yeah. What do you remember about getting that baseball bat
I
from George
laugh
W.
because,
Bush?
you know, the problem with him, very different than Bill Clinton.
He was in the
Bill
Bush era.
Clinton loved to argue.
Oh, and Clinton. So he was over the Clinton-Bush era?
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Wants
Some context for us.
Takes a long time. George was very different. He will have a position, he will express it, we will have a disagreement, we'll rapidly agree to disagree and start to talk baseball and talk football.
All right.
Beyond occasionally surprising visitors by introducing himself,
Bonjour. Mon nom est Chrétien.
more than 2 decades after leaving politics, Chrétien is finding lots of ways to keep busy. I thought this was remarkable. You were in Ukraine in August. What?
Wow.
Why? Why did you
Because
decide?
I wanted to go to Ukraine. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I was impressed by the resilience they have. It's extremely difficult for them. But they're still fighting.
You mentioned, like, you knew Putin. Are you surprised that he went this far?
Yes. But it was coming. This I realize now.
He still has a lot of opinions to share
It was
too,
coming.
particularly
As
on
Trump
the
would say, he would have prevented the entire war if he was president in
If I
2020.
was in office, he respected me, he would have waited.
United
Gosh.
States and Donald Trump.
We're living through a period of enormous change. We don't know what will be the result of it. Suddenly the Americans are going down like 1918. Complete protection is closing the border.
You said during the first Trump administration that when it comes to free trade, you can't reverse an omelet. But we see this second Trump administration is acting with an intensity that is unlike the first one. Do you think free trade with the United States is in jeopardy?
In reality, we never had a real free trade agreement. They signed it, but they were not respecting it during my time. We'll go to arbitration, we'll win. And they will say, so what? So we are always to renegotiate.
The U.S. always does stuff like that too, even to allies. They'll be like, they'll break the rules of something. They'll be like, hey, you can't break the rules. And I'm like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, they'll be the one to make the rule, too,
Yeah.
and then they'll break it.
I just don't. Why would any country trust any treaty they sign with the U.S.? I just don't understand.
Especially even if you, trust it when you signed it, then what happens when the next president comes around and pulls a Trump and just reverts every single policy made and such?
It's like the Paris Climate Accords. I think Obama did it. Trump came in, took it away. Biden came back, went back in it, and then Trump came in again, took it away again. Why would any country ever make an agreement with the U.S. if that can happen every 4 years?
That ain't politics.
And the people in the United States don't care about foreign policy at all. So they don't care about that. They're just voting for whoever has the best vibes.
Because the U.S. is the best in the world. They don't need anyone else.
Crazy.
It was always, very often, a negotiated trade deal we had on a daily basis. When it was suiting them, they would use the free trade treaty to justify their move. But when it was an embarrassment for them, they didn't pay attention to it.
But it's pretty different than taking on the whole world the way they are now.
But, they will have to live with the reality. We need them, and they need us very much.
One of the first issues on Chrétien's desk in 1993 when he became prime minister was ratifying NAFTA. He didn't get some of the changes he wanted, but there was an agreement Canada wouldn't be forced to make large-scale exports of water.
And I'm very proud that I excluded from the treaty water that was in the treaty before. That will become, in the next generation, extremely important because we have 20% of the fresh water in the world. It's a hell of an asset.
Does Donald Trump want our water?
He wants it. Of course he wants it.
Interesting.
He wants everything that is good in Canada. It's ambitious.
That's proof right there that Minnesota should be part of Canada, as we have a lot of lakes.
Yeah, we probably got a lot of the freshwater percentage of the U.S.
Can you, instead of, Trump wanted to make Canada a state of the U.S., can you make us a province of Canada?
We'll also give you guys Lake Superior, too.
Yeah, we'll give you the whole
for
thing.
For free.
Please.
One thing, but it's not available free. You will have to negotiate. It is in our interest to have good relations with the American, and it is in their interest to have good interest with us.
I would like to understand, you dealt with so many world leaders over the years. There is something unique about what Donald Trump is doing right now. He says he hates his enemies. He is relying on executive power to get a lot of things done. Immigration raids where people are being handcuffed in the streets. Do you think Donald Trump is a threat to democracy?
He is. He is.
Nice, direct, clear answer to just answering it right away instead of being like, well, some might say this and some might not. Personally, I can't really speak on this issue, so...
It's the freedoms of not actually being in office anymore.
He does not care much about the rule of law. And the Western society is built on the rule of law. When there is no more rule of law, it's blackmail on a daily basis, and it's not working. You will not be there forever. And there will be a price to pay for that. I don't know what will be the result. It could cause a lot of problems south of the border. This seems to run away from values that made the United States these days.
So does it bother you then to see world leaders? I mean, world leaders are generally, they flatter him, they appeal to him. Prime Minister Carney calls him a transformational president. You say he's a threat to democracy.
Yeah, but it's not a good transformation.
Yeah. But should world leaders be more vocal about the threat he poses?
But
you got to play politics.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, it's part of it, but you'll see that people that disagree with him on a lot of issues find a way to flatter him, and then all of a sudden Don likes him all of a sudden.
Zoran Momdani,
yeah,
they're best friends. I don't know if you guys know anything about New York marital stuff, but it is so interesting because Trump's such a wild card too, where if somebody pissed him off, he could do something super dramatic to their country, even if it would hurt the United States. He'd still do it just to have his revenge.
I mean, you saw the Elon stuff even. That's just a random businessman, and they were all buddy-buddy, and all of a sudden he just got ejected from his committee he made for himself, and now he's just not part of it anymore.
So, I mean, it makes sense that Mark Carney would kind of if they're face-to-face, he's not going to be like, Donald, you're a crazy man, and then what if Trump does something crazy? Because he doesn't care. He's sinking the U.S. economy right now for these stupid tariffs. He doesn't care.
It's like when you're acting with a child that is if there's a child holding a gun, you're gonna buddy up to it. You're not gonna start making it panic for some reason.
Be like, put it down now. But it's that's a very American situation right there.
The problem is we have to fight for our values that are well known. So we are a trading nation by nature. We produce minerals, we have wood, we have to sell it, we cannot use it all in Canada. We have electricity, we have energy more than anybody else, so it's an asset that we should use, but we should sell too. So, it's complicated, and the world will be different, and we'll have to adjust. But if you ask me if I'm very pessimistic, I said no. You know, I've been around. I was the president of the Young Liberal in 1956 at Laval University. You were not very old. And, you know, so I've seen a lot of periods. Sometimes we were more or less discouraged. We thought it was terrible. You know, we had violence, we had terrorism in Europe, and murder all the time, and so on. We look back, and we went through it. So today we face, as I had to face all my life, a wall that how the hell will get over or around it or underneath it. But at the end of the day, we managed to do it. So I think we'll manage again.
As he managed in politics, he had a confidant. Part of this museum is dedicated to Jean Chrétien, his wife of 6 decades. She died in 2020. What is it like for you to come here?
You know, they've done a good job. And, you know, I would not have been prime minister if she had not been my companion.
Why is that?
She was 16 and I was 18. And when I was started to get involved in politics, she was always around and applauding, commenting very privately, and telling me the truth, the real truth. It was extremely useful.
He says she kept
what a
him...
difference right there in him talking about his wife and the current president of the U.S. talking about his wife. Just shows you something about the type of people they are.
What about when his only nice thing he said about his wife is that she was hotter than Ted Cruz's wife?
That's the man Don is right there.
Connected to the people of Shawinigan, and that on tough issues, his staff would try to get her to change his mind.
The last appeal was to go to Aline. He said it's the last chance we have.
And did it work sometimes?
Sometimes. So this tower has become the symbol of Shawinigan.
The tower as the symbol of Shawinigan? Maybe. Or is it Chrétien himself? Nicknamed the little guy from Shawinigan, his political legacy defined in part by his fight to keep Canada together in the 1995 referendum.
Le nom vient de prendre d'avance, hein, vous avez remarqué?
3 decades
Wow,
later,
is that
the
close?
What the heck? Like 4,000 votes?
Whoa,
Vient de prendre d'avance, hein, vous avez remarqué?
that's crazy.
3 decades later, the conversation about national unity has shifted, his views still firm.
This trade war is causing tensions within the country, different
On
provinces.
the contrary, it's a united Canada more than ever.
Even when you see BC saying softwood lumber isn't necessarily getting the attention that autos is.
Madame, it's been always like that. Blaming the federal government, the tension between areas, it's always been like that. Never changed.
It's not only Quebec now, there's an Alberta separatist movement too.
Yeah, but they should all read the Clarity Act.
That's
Oh,
the law
man.
you know.
You know who those people are.
I mean, if you can just tell just by looking at them right there.
Yeah.
But then seeing that sign.
Oh no! Oh no! Come on! Wow. So I mean, I know that like the guy that was running for prime minister against Mark Carney, he was like Trump-esque. They called him like the Trump of Canada, right? And he was all about like that type of stuff. So obviously, these type of people are also going to exist in Canada.
So these people, obviously you have like something that would be progressive, which is like changing and moving forward. And then there's conservative, which is kind of like keeping what you have. Would these people be considered regressives then? Because you're regressing down to the U.S. if you want to join the U.S.?
Is that just not MAGA in Canada?
Yeah, literally.
Like essentially, if they want to join the United States, it has to be just because they've ingested so much MAGA propaganda that they're just like, yeah, I love this.
Literally.
That's all it has to be at that point.
The Act.
That's the law he passed saying any province wanting to separate needs a clear majority and a clear question, intended to deal with Quebec.
Do you want to separate from Canada? When you have a poll with these words, it's clear they don't want that. But if you tell them we can have a better deal, everybody wants to have a better deal. You know.
But what's happening in Alberta right now?
But yeah, but Alberta is a landlocked country. Look at the premier. Now she wants the federal government to intervene in BC to help Alberta. but don't do anything in Alberta to help the rest of Canada. Oh, no. Come on, you cannot double talk all the time like that. And it's a landlocked country, province. How can they build a pipeline? They will have to go in the north through Canada, to the east through Canada, to the west through Canada. And I wish them good luck to have oil pipeline in the state of Washington to go to the Pacific.
Do you think there's a new pipeline? Not just that one, there's also, Mark Carney revived the idea of Keystone XL. Do you think there's a new pipeline in Canada's future?
It is an economic thing. Apparently, there is nobody who wants to do it by the private sector. So the bad feds will have to pay for it. You know, the market forces
The
exist.
thing that I hate is that the private sector, they don't want to build it, but so the government's going to end up building it, and then some company's going to still own it and make all the money. Where the money's not going to go to the taxpayers.
Yeah, the companies. That's what sucks. The government has to be the only entity to look out for the people, and then the companies just never do.
No, they'll just take all the profit. It's like in the U.S. a lot of times, the government will fund studies at colleges for new drugs. And then once they find a new drug that'll work, a company will come buy the patent for the drug and then sell it for just insane prices. And then over in Canada, they probably make a generic type that you can get for a tenth of the price.
Somehow it's literally 1/10.
It's crazy.
And
then people from Canada are saying, we want to join the U.S. Let's go.
You don't.
you know, they never sold as much oil as they do today. And they're complaining as if they were bankrupt. Come on.
Talk like that is
like this guy
unlikely to
straight
go over
to the
well in
point.
parts of
Patch lives matter. What's patch?
Support Alberta separation. I don't know.
Some sort of job that's not doing well because of the relations or something? I don't know.
I mean, look at these, like the things they're saying. It's just like American mega people. at that
Alberta.
point.
But here in Shawinigan, Chrétien is adored.
Parce qu'on l'aime beaucoup.
We love him very much. He's done a lot for the city, she says.
He's like a father to everybody, you know. He's always there, and if you want to talk to him, he's always going to wait, and he's always going to be there. Until he dies, he's going to take good care of Shawinigan.
Bonjour, madame. Comment ça va? Merci de nous recevoir avec les gens de CBC. At least 10 years I'm working with them.
He's helped set up several social services here,
Wow,
including
what a
this
guy.
palliative care home. The Maison Aline Chrétien is open to all for free to be supported and cared for in their last days. Chrétien is deeply proud of it.
You know, those who contributed.
He's like a part of the team because he's always very gentle, very polite, and we are always happy to receive him at there.
Recently, Shawinigan had a celebration for him, a thank you for all the ways he's shaped history and helped shape Shawinigan itself.
You know, it's a small town, but it's my town.
In your head, it's still home.
Oh, it's my home. I started here and I will finish here.
Seems like a guy that genuinely cares about his community.
Made a change.
Unlike a lot of our politicians in the U.S. who, you know, they make it big and they just kind of abandon where they're from.
Dang, I mean, Donald Trump is president of the U.S., and he was just ranting about how much he hated Somalians living in Minnesota, which are technically legally there, and they're part of the community, and he was literally talking about, he was just blatantly being racist towards them.
They only hate illegal immigrants unless it's the legal immigrants that they don't like too. Then they hate them as well.
Specifically if it's like, you know, that Family Guy skit where the darker the skin color,
I mean,
he probably has that in his pocket.
He really does. Man, it's so interesting to see. I mean, like he said, we'll get through it unless, you know, Donald Trump is the end of democracy as we know it. It's, you know, it's possible. He's constantly hinting on running in 2028. Apparently a Trump-associated company bought our voting machines in the U.S., and he continues to pack the courts, the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts, And a lot of them are very sycophantic to Trump. So if he tries to push for something, they might just be like, no, you can do that. It's okay.
He got all the power now.
Yeah, so you never know. And then they could vote for whoever. I mean, in 2028, America could vote for a super, like, country-changing politician who wants socialized medicine, lower drug prices, affordable college, all this stuff. And then 4 years later, they could vote in somebody worse than Trump. So who knows? Nothing's going to change.
Yeah, if you get a policy you want, it might just get eradicated.
Yeah, I mean, it literally would. If they did a Medicare for all, like Bernie Sanders wanted, once they left and once the other party won, inevitably it's going to happen. Even if it was super popular, super successful, the Republican government, even the Democrats, would probably start cutting funding to it, then saying, hey, it doesn't work. Look, it's not working anymore, as they were cutting the funding, the reason why it's not working, and then cut it eventually.
Because 80% of the people are probably getting paid by some private corporation that benefits from that being cut as well.
And then suddenly they'll come back and they'll get all the money from that industry once again.
Very corrupt.
America. Capitalism.
Let's move to Canada.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.